G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here and watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about rugby. But, there's a big but today. The referee performance in this test match was absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. And really had me concerned going into the Rugby World Cup because Matthew Carley, the main referee here, is one of the starting main key referees in the Rugby World Cup match. So he could be refereeing a semi-final in the Rugby World Cup. And yeah, this had me really concerned when when the commentators announced the referee lineup for this match. That was Matthew Carley, Brendan Pickero at TMO, and James Stolman on the sideline. I thought to myself, nah, that can't be right. This sounds like it's the start of a joke, right? What happens when you put Matthew Carley, James Stolman, and Brendan Pickero in the same test match? And sure enough, we get an atrocious display of inconsistency of the referees. And once again, these referees are just there in there for their egos, right? It's just their own egos getting in the way. Brendan Pickero thinks that he's actually refereeing the game from the TMO box, and then I thought they have this bunker system, but they clearly didn't use that. They just had they didn't even know the rules. There's supposed to be a bunker system where a yellow card is issued when two replays can't determine whether that be a red or not. They didn't do that. They just went for the traditional, hey, let's take 20 minutes and determine if this should be a red card or not after a infringement has occurred. That already tells me how bad these referees were when they are not even following their own instructions from World Rugby, which is the TMO bunker is in play, right? It's so bad, it's so atrocious, I couldn't actually believe all these guys get paid, right? It's like, hey, did you know this? It's supposed to have a bunker? It's supposed to be a bunker. You're not supposed to spend 10 minutes trying to determine a red card or not. And what's ironic is that they spend like 10 minutes trying to determine whether a red card or not, and they still got it wrong. So, let's have a look at this ourselves, right? So, by the way, there's another yellow card later on against Fiji. So, there was a red card against Japan, like 10 minutes into the game. And then there was a yellow card later on against Fiji. For some reason, the referee says, oh yeah, that's low degree of danger. Like, how did you determine that's a low degree of danger? It's a head contact, just like the first one. Both players were upright. And then the referee goes, yeah, that's a low degree of danger. Let's start with yellow card. Hello? Do you know how this works? Matthew Carley, you are going to be running Rugby World. Anyway, let's have a look at incidents, alright? So, this is the first one. Let's go to the first one here. Taking some really blurry screenshots, but hopefully you can see, right? So, this is the Japanese number 7. He goes in for a tackle. The Fijian number 12, right? Chen steps in field and results in a head collision between the two players. Okay? Now you might be saying to yourself, yeah, that is a high tackle, head collision, definitely a red card, definitely a penalty of some sort, and potentially a card. I 100% agree. There should be a yellow card. This definitely is a penalty against Japanese player. But the major mitigating factor is the fact that the Fijian number 12 has stepped into the Japanese number 7 and resulting in the head collision. There's no way not a human being on the planet can make a quick enough decision to duck something that quick of a player stepping into him in the last second of a tackle to avoid this head collision. It shows you how much these referees have even played rugby. The last time these referees have made a rugby was probably when they were 12 years old. Was 20 years ago. There's no way, not a human being on the planet can make that. And you might say, hey, look, the player, he should have been lower going into the tackle. You're 100% right. He should have been lower going into the tackle. But, except for the fact that he's expecting the number 12 to be going over here. You see this gap? He is expecting number 12 to be here. And you can see that he's extending himself towards this gap here, where he was expecting the number 12 to be going, and make the tackle a low tackle, a perfectly legal low tackle in this position here. You can tell because his right hand is way out. Because he's expecting to make the tackle here, not here. You see the difference? And also you can see after the tackle is made, his body is swung around in field, like swung around him, because he's expecting to make a tackle further to the left of him than he's making it right now. So he's literally going, oh, geez, I gotta quickly, he's gonna step me, wrapping himself around to make this tackle. You can see that he has completely wrapped himself around to make this tackle because he was expecting a tackle somewhere here, further to his right, to his left. Okay? And that is mitigating factor, referees. In fact, the referees looked at this, right? And this is how stupid these referees are. They even looked at this live during the broadcast and said, hey, we want to see if there's a change of direction, that if there is enough a change of direction for this to be a step, right? And the referee determined there was no change in directions. Despite the fact that the Fijian player turned 90 degrees. He's running this direction and then he's changed 90 degrees, right? He's made a 90-degree change to the direction he's running, and the referee saying, yeah, that wasn't enough of a change of a direction to be considered mitigating factor. What are you watching? What are you, like, honestly, why is this even happening? Do you guys not know there's a bunker? Why is this so bad? You're professional referees. There's a 90-degree change in direction and momentum. He said there wasn't enough change of direction to consider that a mitigating factor. So, already, incredibly bad. And then, just to show you the inconsistencies, shoulder to the head, yellow card. Okay? I agree that is a yellow card. Both players upright, no change in directions whatsoever, right? TMO Matthew Carley, by the way, says this tackle here is low danger. So the starting point for this was yellow. I know. Sorry, I know. There's no need to look at mitigations because the starting point is a yellow card, not a red. Unbelievable. You know, to be, you know, this, for someone that's this impossible to make a split-second decision to just his height, right? That's a red card. And this straight up shoulder to the head is low danger. Let's start with yellow. How, honestly, how... These are the World Cup referees. Honestly, I can't believe what I saw, man. It was so bad. Honestly, like, it's atrocious. And I can't wait for the Rugby World Cup to be ruined again, like it was in 2019, by these horrendously bad referees. Okay? Unbelievable. Anyway, we are here to talk about the teams. And it's you know, put aside these atrocious refereeing, both teams actually show really determined good rugby. The Fijians is really on another level compared to a lot of the teams out there in the world. I'm very, very happy to see the progress of the Fijians. They have a lot of good players coming through from Super Rugby in the Endurance, and then they've brought back a lot of the international test level players to fill out the ranks, and it's just looking unbelievable. The counter attack, the support running, the discipline, the turnovers, just the ability to turn over the ball and immediately become a threat is just so good. And the ability for every Fijian player to stay on their feet after contact and release the ball for support players to continue to play that, you know, Fijian style of rugby. It's just so unbelievably good to see. Even a prop can do that. Something that, you know, most teams can't do, except for, like, you know, the most talented backs in designated positions to do so, right? This was unbelievable to watch, and both teams have absorbed tremendous amount of pressure, and then eventually it's just the Fijians, the counter attack, just the fact that they were playing with one extra person on the field as well, the Japanese really like throwing the kitchen sink at it, and it was just just a little bit too much work for one player down for the majority of the game. And the Japanese did eventually throw the kitchen sink so hard at Fiji, able to come away with 2 tries at the end of the game. But it was just a little bit too late. But it was just admirable effort, really amazing effort from both teams in this test match. I was very happy the way that Vola did his kicking. He missed 1 penalty, but overall, I thought his goal kicking looked really sharp. And again, that's something that the Fijians always a bit of a question mark. Without Vola, the kicking is going to be like very, it's a bit more dicey. But with the Vola back, really ticks off that final kind of like question mark the Fijians really looking forward to like round out their World Cup team. I think the Fijians could potentially get to the quarterfinals this year. Sorry, not quarterfinals, semifinals. It's just so impressive how this team is performing, and it's really I think not only that they're gonna make it out of the pool, I think they're gonna make it to the semifinals. Whether or not they're gonna get past potentially like the All Blacks in semifinals, we'll have to wait and see. But I think it's just tremendous performance by them, and just unbelievable World Cup awaits for them in France. For the Japanese, however, I did think that they did get a bit panicky, and that resulted in a lot of errors. There's a lot of small errors from the Japanese giving the ball back to the Fijians. I do think that the obviously with a player in the bin, that lack of experience is starting to show, and I think that like the overall with a player down, the Japanese did the best that they could with the situation that was given to them. But it is just the set piece was lacking because they had a forward down. The Fijian scrummaging was dominant. When you have a weak set piece, everything kind of gets pressured a bit more as well at the breakdowns. At the set, at the new backline starts to get pressured from the slow breakdowns, and then everything kind of gets a bit snowballed to that effect. So overall, the match stats, just tremendous run meters for both teams, actually. 664 for the Fijians, 485 for the Japanese. Lots of turnovers conceded for both teams. 17 against Japan, 16 against Fiji. Tackles made. This is this is what I'm saying about the Japanese team. Despite having a player in the bin, only 18 missed tackles, 123 tackles made. This is like world-class tackle completion rate. Despite the fact that having a key open side flanker missing, who will be making most of the tackles, in fact, as an open side flanker, they're still able to perform to that sort of completion rate is really like, that's a big thumbs up for me for Japan. The Fijians, however, did miss a few more tackles, 32 missed tackles out of 114, something that they probably wanted to work on, especially if they wanted to make it into that quarterfinal stage. That missed tackle count really needs to be a lot lower than 32. Kicks in play. Neither teams really played much of a kicking game, in my opinion. The Fijians was able to control the kicking a little bit better with Vola in the team. But, the way that Fijians were able to counterattack really didn't need much kicking. I did think that the Japanese probably should have done a bit more kicking because of the fact that they had a red card. So that's something that they probably need to reconsider in their game plan a little bit. Instead of just going brute force to brute force, need to play a bit smarter when you have a player in the bin. Lineouts 10-9. Scrum quite. I think the Fijians had a bit more ascendancy in the scrummaging. Penalty count pretty low for both teams. 8 against Japan, 7 against Fiji. Obviously the 1 red card we already talked about, and the 1 yellow card for the Fijians. So let's quickly go through some of the summaries of the game. So Fijian was under the pumps early in the game. They were defending. Japan was building in phases. Suddenly there was a turnover at the breakdown, and then immediately just some good hands between the players. The Fijians basically ran like 70 meters down the line. Naya Thalevu gets in for the first try for the Fijians, only 3 minutes into the game from a massive counterattack from the breakdowns. So 17 minutes into the game, with a player with the red card already being issued. I don't want to talk about a red card again. The Fijian boys was just, going to their forward packs, just pounding the try line. Something that, the Fijians has been not something that you would think of them to be good at. To just get that forward, push going with the 4-pack, something that they've been working on a lot in Super Rugby, and that again really showed in this play. Just really disciplined, pick and go, short, one off crash balls, and eventually they got really close. And the Maui crashes over for the Fijians, pick and go, 14 points to nil, 17 minutes into the game. 38 minutes into the game, Fijians had a massive scrum, obviously due to one of the player in Japan that's in the bin. The scrum was right in front of the goalpost. The scrum was going forward. The ball pops out. The halfback Kuruvoli picks up the ball, sees the blindside gap, runs in, rolls himself over for the third try for the Fijians. 21 points to nil going into halftime for Fiji. 57 minutes into the game. Again, really good offloading from the reserve prop, number 17 from Fiji. Let's get his name up. Penny Ravai, man, he's just unbelievable. He looked like a center, honestly. He gets the ball. He crashed. He drew two defenders. He crashed. He extended his body through, like perfect, really good technique beyond the advantage line, and then just pops the ball out for his backs. A few more inter passes between the backs, and then Frank Lomani, the reserve number 9, goes in for the try for Fiji. 57 minutes into the game. 28 points to nil for Fiji. Japan had a nice break at 68 minutes. Look, as the game ticking down to the end, Japan's became to play more and more erratic, starting to take more risks. They had a nice breakdown center field. I think it was Matsushima, and then they got about 5 meters short, and then they got knocked on, which was really annoying. There was a few tries declined by Fiji as well. 4 passes, knock-on, just small knock-ons. And in fact, the last try, we'll talk about it in a minute, I thought should have been declined as well. So anyway, 70 minutes into the game, the Fijians had a line out, and then they had just crash balls following the line out, nice and pick and goes, and eventually this was Japan. Japan had a line out, crash balls, just pick and go, just some bread and butter stuff, goes in for their first try. Naki Bula goes in, 70 minutes in. Japan 7 points to 28. 74 minutes into the game, it looked like Fiji has scored another counter-attack try, just really high pressure defense, forcing another loose pass from the Japanese. Scoops up by the Fijian number 14, runs down the field, looks like it was a try, but the TMO, Brendan Pickering, goes back, look at the high shot, yellow card. For some reason, they thought that was not dangerous, so started with a yellow card, and that was a declined try. 75 minutes into the game, Japan piling on more pressure, just some good hands into the corner, and Masireva jumped in like a nice little hop into the corner, dunks it in, 12 points to 28. Finally, in the full-time whistle gone, the Fijians were in the front foot attacking. The number 14 ran this nice little angle, cuts open the Japanese defense, and again, just inside ball, bit of offloads between the support runners. Lomani goes in for another try. I did think that this pass to Lomani at the end was a forward pass, and the TMOs probably got sick of looking at videos and just let it go. So I really thought it really looked like a very obvious forward pass here, and really poor referee. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. I really hope that World Rugby just seriously, just get rid of the red card. Honestly, just get rid of it. It's so stupid, so preposterous. Just get rid of it. Who cares? Cite the player later for match suspensions in court. Who cares? No one cares about it. Honestly, nobody's happy. Nobody wants to see their team win because you're playing against 14 players. Nobody wants to see a team lose because they're playing against 14 players. Nobody wants to see this. Just get rid of it. Just stop being a bunch of boomers and can't get your head around it. Just get rid of it. Get rid of the red card. Who cares? Stop ruining the game. And also, the fact that if you get rid of red card, you wouldn't, like, this awful refereeing wouldn't be an issue anymore, right? Because the burden is no longer on them to make the decision. They have to sort that out in courts after the game. It saves your stupid referee as well. Your lack of training to the referees saves you money there as well. World Rugby, just get into your head. Unbelievable. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good week.